In a shocking turn of events on late-night television, Seth Meyers made headlines when he appeared to take a bold stand against his fellow talk show host, Jimmy Kimmel, during a live broadcast of Jimmy Kimmel Live. The incident, which has since gone viral, unfolded during a seemingly routine guest appearance that quickly escalated into a heated exchange, captivating audiences and sparking widespread debate across social media platforms. Meyers, known for his sharp wit and incisive commentary on Late Night with Seth Meyers, was invited as a guest to promote his show's upcoming milestone episode. However, what began as light-hearted banter took an unexpected turn when Kimmel made a playful but pointed jab about Meyers' ratings, suggesting that his show was struggling to keep up in the competitive late-night landscape. Meyers, never one to back down from a challenge, fired back with a response that was equal parts humor and bite, catching Kimmel off guard and setting the stage for a confrontation that would dominate entertainment news cycles. The exchange was laced with the kind of tension that only comes from two comedic heavyweights who know how to wield words like weapons, and it left the studio audience gasping and laughing in equal measure. Social media erupted with clips of the moment, with fans and critics alike dissecting every word, gesture, and facial expression, trying to determine whether the clash was genuine or a carefully orchestrated bit for ratings. Some argued that Meyers' retort was a calculated move to assert his dominance in the late-night arena, while others saw it as a spontaneous reaction to Kimmel's provocation. The incident raised questions about the dynamics between late-night hosts, who are often seen as friendly rivals but rarely engage in such public sparring. Behind the scenes, sources close to both shows hinted at a long-standing rivalry that had been simmering beneath the surface, fueled by competition for A-list guests, Emmy nominations, and the ever-elusive approval of younger demographics. The clash also reignited discussions about the state of late-night television in an era dominated by streaming platforms and viral content, with many wondering whether traditional talk shows could still command the cultural relevance they once did. For Meyers, the moment was a chance to showcase his quick thinking and comedic prowess, but it also risked alienating Kimmel's loyal fanbase, who took to platforms like X to defend their host. Meanwhile, Kimmel's team reportedly scrambled to manage the fallout, with some insiders suggesting that the host was blindsided by Meyers' intensity. As the dust settled, the incident became a case study in how late-night hosts navigate the fine line between humor and hostility, with both Meyers and Kimmel emerging as polarizing figures in the aftermath. The episode's viral nature ensured that it would be remembered as a defining moment in late-night history, raising the stakes for both hosts as they prepared for their next moves in the ongoing battle for late-night supremacy. The roots of the Meyers-Kimmel clash can be traced back to the fiercely competitive world of late-night television, where hosts are constantly vying for relevance in an increasingly fragmented media landscape. For years, Seth Meyers and Jimmy Kimmel have been part of a crowded field of hosts, including Stephen Colbert, Jimmy Fallon, and James Corden, each carving out their own niche while subtly, and sometimes not so subtly, competing for viewership. Meyers, with his background in Saturday Night Live and his cerebral, politically charged monologues, has cultivated a loyal following among viewers who appreciate his sharp commentary and willingness to tackle serious issues with humor. Kimmel, on the other hand, has built his brand on a blend of populist humor, emotional storytelling, and high-profile celebrity interviews, making Jimmy Kimmel Live a staple for audiences seeking a more accessible, everyman approach to late-night comedy. The tension between the two hosts reportedly began to simmer during awards season, when Meyers' show was snubbed for a major nomination that Kimmel's show secured, leading to whispers of bad blood behind the scenes. Sources close to the industry noted that while the two hosts had always maintained a cordial public facade, their teams were fiercely protective of their respective brands, often clashing over booking conflicts and promotional opportunities. During the now infamous episode, Kimmel's opening jab about Meyers' ratings was meant as a light roast, but it struck a nerve, prompting Meyers to deliver a scathing comeback that referenced Kimmel's own struggles with declining viewership in key demographics. The audience roared with laughter, but the undercurrent of tension was palpable, as Kimmel's smile tightened and he attempted to steer the conversation back to safer territory. Meyers, however, doubled down, weaving a series of clever jabs that showcased his improvisational skills while subtly undermining Kimmel's credibility as a late-night titan. The exchange was a masterclass in comedic timing, but it also revealed the fragility of egos in an industry where public perception is everything. Online, fans of both hosts took sides, with some praising Meyers for his fearless takedown and others accusing him of crossing a line by attacking Kimmel on his own turf. The incident also sparked a broader conversation about the role of authenticity in late-night television, with some arguing that Meyers' willingness to engage in unfiltered banter was a refreshing departure from the polished, predictable exchanges that dominate the genre. Others, however, saw it as a breach of the unspoken code among late-night hosts, who typically avoid direct confrontations to maintain a sense of camaraderie. As the clip continued to circulate, it became clear that the clash had struck a chord with viewers hungry for drama in an otherwise formulaic format. The fallout from the Meyers-Kimmel clash extended far beyond the studio, as the entertainment world buzzed with speculation about what really happened and what it meant for the future of late-night television. Industry insiders pointed to the incident as a symptom of deeper tensions within the genre, which has struggled to adapt to a media landscape dominated by short-form content on platforms like TikTok and YouTube. For Meyers, the confrontation was a high-risk, high-reward moment that solidified his reputation as a fearless comedian unafraid to challenge his peers, even at the cost of burning bridges. His supporters argued that the clash was a necessary disruption in a genre that has grown stale, with many late-night shows relying on recycled bits and celebrity fluff pieces to fill airtime. Kimmel, however, emerged as a more sympathetic figure for some, with fans rallying around him as the host who was simply trying to keep the show light and fun before being blindsided by Meyers' verbal assault. Behind the scenes, both hosts' teams were reportedly in crisis mode, with Meyers' producers celebrating the viral moment while carefully monitoring the backlash, and Kimmel's team working to spin the narrative in their favor. Social media platforms like X became battlegrounds for fans and detractors, with hashtags like #TeamSeth and #TeamKimmel trending for days after the incident. Media outlets, from tabloids to reputable entertainment journals, published think pieces analyzing the clash, with some framing it as a generational divide between Meyers' millennial sensibility and Kimmel's more traditional approach. Others saw it as a reflection of the broader cultural shift toward authenticity and confrontation, with audiences craving raw, unscripted moments over polished performances. The incident also prompted renewed scrutiny of the late-night format itself, with critics questioning whether the genre could survive in an era where viewers have endless entertainment options at their fingertips. For Meyers and Kimmel, the clash was a reminder of the high stakes involved in maintaining relevance, as every misstep could be magnified by an unforgiving online audience. As the dust began to settle, both hosts returned to their respective shows with carefully crafted responses, with Meyers leaning into the controversy with sly references during his monologue, while Kimmel took a more conciliatory approach, joking about the incident but avoiding further escalation. The episode highlighted the delicate balance between competition and collegiality in late-night television, leaving fans and industry watchers eagerly awaiting the next chapter in this unexpected rivalry. The clash between Seth Meyers and Jimmy Kimmel also shed light on the evolving role of late-night hosts as cultural commentators and entertainers in a polarized world. Both hosts have used their platforms to address serious issues, from politics to social justice, but their approaches differ significantly, reflecting their distinct comedic voices and audience demographics. Meyers, with his roots in improv and political satire, has positioned himself as a voice for progressive viewers, often using his A Closer Look segment to dissect complex policy issues with a blend of humor and outrage. Kimmel, meanwhile, has gained attention for his emotional monologues, particularly on topics like healthcare and gun control, which have endeared him to audiences who value vulnerability and sincerity. The clash on Jimmy Kimmel Live highlighted these differences, as Meyers' sharp-tongued retort contrasted with Kimmel's more genial, everyman persona, creating a dynamic that felt both electric and uncomfortable. For viewers, the incident was a rare glimpse into the personalities behind the polished late-night personas, revealing the competitive undercurrents that drive the industry. The exchange also sparked a wave of memes and parodies, with comedians and content creators on platforms like X and TikTok reenacting the moment or offering their own commentary on the feud. Some fans speculated that the clash was a publicity stunt designed to boost ratings for both shows, pointing to the convenient timing of Meyers' appearance just as Late Night was gearing up for a major promotional push. Others, however, insisted that the tension was real, citing body language and subtle cues that suggested genuine discomfort between the two hosts. The incident also prompted comparisons to legendary late-night feuds, such as the rivalry between David Letterman and Jay Leno, which similarly captivated audiences with its mix of humor and hostility. For Meyers, the clash was an opportunity to flex his comedic muscles and prove that he could hold his own against a seasoned host like Kimmel. But it also raised questions about whether he had gone too far in challenging a colleague on live television. Kimmel, for his part, faced pressure to respond in a way that preserved his likability while addressing the incident head-on, a challenge that tested his skills as a communicator and entertainer. As the story continued to dominate headlines, it became clear that the clash had tapped into a broader cultural fascination with conflict and authenticity, with audiences drawn to the raw, unfiltered nature of the exchange. As the weeks passed, the Meyers-Kimmel clash became a defining moment for both hosts, shaping their public images and influencing the trajectory of their shows. For Meyers, the incident was a double-edged sword. It boosted his visibility and earned him praise from fans who admired his boldness, but it also invited criticism from those who felt he had violated an unspoken rule of late-night decorum. His supporters argued that the clash was a necessary jolt for a genre that has struggled to stay relevant, with Meyers proving that he was willing to take risks to keep his show in the conversation. Kimmel, meanwhile, faced the challenge of maintaining his reputation as the affable everyman while navigating the fallout from a public embarrassment on his own show. His response in subsequent episodes was carefully calibrated, with jokes that acknowledged the incident without dwelling on it, allowing him to move forward while still addressing the elephant in the room. Behind the scenes, both hosts reportedly reached out to each other to smooth things over, with insiders suggesting that the conversation was amicable but guarded, reflecting the delicate balance of their professional relationship. The clash also had ripple effects across the late-night landscape, with other hosts weighing in subtly through their own monologues and social media posts, careful not to take sides but eager to capitalize on the buzz. For the networks, the incident was a boon, driving viewership and online engagement at a time when late-night shows are increasingly reliant on viral moments to stay competitive. Industry analysts noted that the clash highlighted the precarious nature of late-night television, where hosts must constantly reinvent themselves to appeal to a fragmented audience. For viewers, the incident was a reminder of the human element behind the polished productions, with Meyers and Kimmel revealing vulnerabilities and insecurities that made them more relatable. Even as they traded barbs, the clash also sparked discussions about the future of late-night television, with some predicting that the genre would need to embrace more unscripted, confrontational moments to stay relevant in an era dominated by streaming and social media. For now, both Meyers and Kimmel have returned to their respective shows, but the shadow of the clash looms large, with fans and critics alike watching closely for any signs of lingering tension or reconciliation. Looking ahead, the Meyers-Kimmel clash is likely to be remembered as a pivotal moment in the evolution of late-night television, a genre that continues to grapple with its place in a rapidly changing media landscape. For Seth Meyers, the incident was a chance to assert his voice and prove that he could compete with the biggest names in the industry, even if it meant ruffling feathers along the way. His willingness to engage in a public showdown demonstrated a confidence that has endeared him to fans who value authenticity and boldness, but it also underscored the risks of alienating peers in a tight-knit industry. For Jimmy Kimmel, the clash was a test of resilience, forcing him to navigate a public challenge while maintaining the warmth and humor that have made him a beloved figure. His ability to weather the storm and keep his show on track speaks to his experience as a host and his understanding of the delicate balance between entertainment and authenticity. The incident also highlighted the power of social media in shaping narratives, with platforms like X amplifying the clash and turning it into a cultural touchstone that transcended the confines of late-night television. For the industry as a whole, the clash was a wake-up call, reminding producers and hosts that audiences crave moments of spontaneity and conflict in an era of scripted predictability. As late-night shows continue to compete for relevance, the Meyers-Kimmel clash may serve as a blueprint for how to capture attention in a crowded media landscape, even if it comes at the cost of temporary discord. For fans, the incident was a thrilling glimpse into the competitive underbelly of late-night television, offering a rare look at the personalities and rivalries that shape the genre. As both hosts move forward, they will undoubtedly carry the lessons of this moment with them, balancing the need for authenticity with the demands of a format that thrives on polish and predictability. Whether the clash marks the beginning of a new era of late-night feuds or a one-off moment of drama remains to be seen, but its impact on the genre and its stars is undeniable, cementing its place in the annals of television history. The reverberations of the Seth Meyers and Jimmy Kimmel clash continued to shape the late-night television landscape long after the initial broadcast, as it sparked a broader conversation about the future direction of the genre. The incident became a lightning rod for discussions about how late-night hosts can remain relevant in an era where traditional television is losing ground to digital platforms. Meyers, emboldened by the viral success of his confrontation, leaned further into his reputation as a daring, quick-witted host, incorporating more unscripted moments into his show to capitalize on the audience's appetite for authenticity. His team saw the clash as a turning point, with producers reportedly encouraging him to push boundaries in ways that would differentiate late night from its competitors. Meanwhile, Kimmel took a more measured approach, using his platform to rebuild his narrative as the approachable, relatable host who could laugh off a public challenge without losing his charm. His subsequent episodes featured subtle nods to the incident, with carefully crafted jokes that acknowledged the feud while reinforcing his everyman appeal. The clash also had a ripple effect on other late-night shows, with hosts like Stephen Colbert and James Corden subtly referencing the drama in their monologues, careful to avoid direct involvement but eager to tap into the cultural zeitgeist. On platforms like X, the conversation evolved into a broader debate about the role of conflict in entertainment, with some users praising Meyers for shaking up the status quo and others defending Kimmel's more traditional approach as a stabilizing force in late-night. Industry analysts pointed out that the clash exposed vulnerabilities in the late-night format, which has struggled to adapt to a media environment where viral moments and social media engagement often outweigh traditional ratings. For networks, the incident was a goldmine, driving unprecedented online engagement and prompting discussions about how to engineer more such moments without alienating audiences. Behind the scenes, both Meyers and Kimmel reportedly faced pressure from their respective networks to keep the feud alive in a controlled manner, as the publicity was too valuable to let fade. However, both hosts were cautious, aware that prolonging the conflict risked overshadowing their core brands. The clash also inspired a wave of parodies and sketches across platforms, with comedians and content creators reenacting the moment or imagining fictional reconciliations, further cementing its place in pop culture. For viewers, the incident was a reminder of the high stakes involved in late-night television, where every interaction is scrutinized and amplified by a hyper-connected audience. As the genre continues to evolve, the Meyers-Kimmel clash may serve as a case study in how to balance authenticity with entertainment, pushing hosts to take risks while navigating the fine line between rivalry and respect. The long-term impact of the Meyers-Kimmel clash extended beyond the hosts themselves, influencing the broader entertainment industry and its approach to crafting viral moments. For Seth Meyers, the incident became a defining chapter in his career, solidifying his status as a bold voice unafraid to challenge conventions, even at the risk of professional fallout. His willingness to engage in a public sparring match resonated with younger viewers, who saw him as a refreshing alternative to the polished, predictable banter of traditional late-night shows. This shift prompted Meyers to experiment with new formats, including more live segments and audience interactions, as he sought to maintain the momentum from the viral clash. For Jimmy Kimmel, the incident was a test of his resilience and adaptability, forcing him to confront the limits of his genial persona in an era where audiences crave drama and authenticity. His response, doubling down on emotional storytelling and celebrity-driven content, helped him regain footing, but it also highlighted the challenges of staying relevant in a fractured media landscape. The clash also prompted a re-evaluation of how late-night shows are marketed, with networks recognizing the value of manufactured or spontaneous controversies and driving viewership. On X and other platforms, the feud continued to fuel discussions about the evolving dynamics of late-night television, with fans speculating about potential rematches or collaborations between Meyers and Kimmel. Some suggested a joint appearance to bury the hatchet, while others hoped for more confrontations to keep the genre exciting. The incident also drew attention to the role of social media in amplifying television moments, with clips of the clash racking up millions of views and spawning countless memes, GIFs, and reaction videos. For the industry, the clash underscored the need for late-night shows to adapt to a digital-first world, where audiences are more likely to engage with bite-sized content online than tune in for a full episode. This realization prompted producers to invest more heavily in social media strategies, ensuring that every episode had at least one shareable moment designed to go viral. For Meyers and Kimmel, the clash became a career-defining moment, forcing them to confront their own strengths and vulnerabilities as performers. As they moved forward, both hosts were acutely aware of the need to balance their competitive instincts with the demands of an industry that thrives on collaboration and camaraderie. The clash ultimately left an indelible mark on late-night television, serving as a reminder that in an age of endless entertainment options, the ability to capture attention, whether through humor, conflict, or authenticity, is the key to survival.